Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to give everybody just a minute to get logged in and connected to the audio. So we will get started right at the top or bottom of the hour, top of the hour. Okay, hi and welcome everyone. I am Angie Lander. I'm the Senior Program Manager for Technical and Integration Communities at AIAA, and I will be hosting the webinar today with Laurent, Sibille, and Ken Davidian, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So today we're talking about the 2023 Ascend Call for Content. We're going to have some topic highlights for you. And this is our quick agenda for the call today. We're going to do a quick Ascend overview for those of you who are not familiar with the event. We're going to go over the important dates, and then we'll be getting into the call for content, both the call for sessions and the call for papers. So what is Ascend? Ascend stands for Accelerating Space Commerce Exploration and New Discovery. So this is AIAA's event for those of us around the world who are accelerating humanity's progress towards our off-world future. The key information about the event this year, we will be in Las Vegas at Caesars Forum, October 23rd through 25th. We expect a little more than 2,000 people at the program this year. We'll be completely in person this time around. There are no virtual tracks or virtual presentations. And here are the important dates for you to remember as we work towards this year's event. On 15 March, the call for content closes. On 29 and 30 March, we have Ascendex Texas. This is its second year. We bring the global space community together to share best practices, innovative strategies, and opportunities to succeed in today's global market and our off-world future. This year's theme is Pathways for Our Success, Breaking Barriers and Accelerating the Space Ecosystem. So that'll be happening in the next few days in Texas. So if you're interested in that, please check out the website. On June 2nd, for those of you that are submitting to the Ascend call, we'll be putting out our author notices. On 14 June, registration opens. 18 September will be your manuscript deadline if you're submitting to the call for papers. And then the 23rd through 25th October, we will be on site in Las Vegas. Our call for content session topics, these are our 6 high-level topics. We will be talking about 2 of them in depth on the call today. There's no prioritization there except that we have these 2 experts with us today. And we'll be working on webinars for the other topics, hopefully in the next few weeks. But the 2 that we'll be talking about today are space exploration and infrastructure and expanding and evolving the space economy. Now, there are 2 sides to our call for content for Ascend this year. We have our collaborative sessions, and those are full session proposals where you would be submitting one of these formats, a debate, a panel, a roundtable, a town hall, a tutorial, or a workshop. These are all interactive formats. We have more details on our website about what each of these means. Panel is pretty easy to recognize. We all have been to a conference panel before, but for a debate, you're going to be posing like an interesting question, and then there are 2 sides that you need to have represented. So if you have any questions about the formats for these, Ken can talk to those later, or you can check out our website in the meantime. The second part of our call is our technical sessions, and that's our call for papers. And those are traditional conference technical paper sessions. Okay, we're going to go into a brief overview and highlights for space exploration and infrastructure, expanding and evolving the space economy. And I'm going to turn it over at this point to our two experts on the line today. We have Laurent Sibille, Senior Technology Development Scientist at Southeastern University's Research Association. He is the Ascend Deputy Technical Program Chair and Ascend Technical Collaborative Program Liaison. He is also a member of our Space Resources Technical Committee and I believe the previous chair. Ken Davidian is the owner at Impossible Research. He is our Ascend Collaborative Program Chair, and he is also a member of our Economics Integration and Outreach Committee. So Ken and Laurent, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you all.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. This is an exciting ascent that's being prepared this year in using the success of 2022 and improving on it. As Angie showed, the organization is by these large topics, and we're going to cover those first two right now. And I'm going to speak to the space exploration and infrastructure topic. So the call has common themes for both the call for papers and the call for session, and that's intended to create a very strong synergy between the deliberative and collaborative sessions, where there are a lot of discussions, debates, roundtables, town halls, or workshops, and the technical papers that forms the technical foundation of the forum. And so one thing to understand is that Ascend is a forum where that encourages cross-disciplinary discussions and interactions. That's why you have these special sessions that are non-traditional in format sometimes. You also have those plenary talks and the technical program, and all of that is focused on creating that cross-disciplinary interactions. It is also outcome focused, meaning you see this in the topic highlights, where the idea is to discuss how space technology and space exploration is applied in missions, in creating new infrastructure, new capabilities, new modes of operation, both to serve pure exploration activities, for example, but also, as we all recognize now, include commercial and economic focused enterprises. And these, we have to recognize that these serve each other, but also they pose challenges to each other. And so in creating proposals for this topic, for example, think about those two aspects. Well, what does what you propose bring to the table in terms of a capability that will enhance the large space infrastructure that will benefit many actors or many activities, but also what new challenges does it pose? You know, one thing that we all are aware of is the crowding effect of Earth orbits. So it brings a lot of new capabilities and new infrastructure, but also some new challenges. Same thing over to the lunar surface, for example, where you have challenges that are brought by having many actors landing in possibly a common region. And what does that mean if they all try to access the same resources, or also just create a lot of traffic that needs to be managed? So these highlights show what we're looking for in terms of large topic themes, and you recognize that as its traditional mission has been in the past, we invite achievements and lessons from current and past missions. We like to showcase extraordinary achievements in space exploration, as well as looking into the future to show what are new opportunities, new themes of exploration, but also focusing on establishing an infrastructure in space that again will serve everybody, including using new platforms or using advanced digital engineering tools to further this. So on the next slide, you'll see that the subtopics are a way, and they're listed on the call for content and the call for papers, are a way to get a little bit deeper and give more guidance to all of you proposers on what is being sought in terms of overall scope. So I cannot go through all of this, but you'll recognize that it ranges from space medicine to robotics and communications issues, large infrastructure, large exploration campaign, such as the lunar development and its scientific exploration, and also innovations on the technology level. All of those things are need to come in as proposals to actually create this large synergy and this large interactive forum that we're seeking. So I encourage all of you to consider this. One thing you'll notice when Ken is speaking is that there is an overlap in some of those subtopics. And that is intentional because it is also a recognition of the fact that all of these, or many of these subtopics, many of these areas serve both the commercial aspect of space, but also the exploration aspect of space, and it needs to be recognized. So we'll answer some of your questions after we discuss, but I'm going to hand it over to my friend Ken.
Actually, Laurent, we have a question right now that I think since we're here, let's go ahead and address. So we've got a question. If an organization is submitting technical papers that are closely related but fall under different technical committees, is there a way to bundle them into a single technical paper session?
So the question seems to be about creating a session around several papers that an organization is proposing. So we do work with proposers who are submitting several papers together, and we look at both what makes sense for their content and also how the larger body of papers that we have received interact. So we have done this in the past, and sometimes it's good to keep it the way they propose. Sometimes it's good to add another paper in the midst.
So would you suggest if someone is going to submit multiple papers, should they reach out and contact someone on the program team during that submission process?
It's good to look up one of us and bring this up early. Yes, that's a good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, for everyone's awareness, all of the technical program teams' emails are available on the Ascend website. Now I guess over to you, Ken.
Now over to Ken. Okay, hi, and thank you very much. And thank you very much, Laurent and Angie. Like Laurent said, Ascend is unique in that it's cross-disciplinary, it's output-focused, and we're looking to understand how, different topics, at least in the collaborative sessions, we really want to frame the topics in sort of a paradox or some sort of contradiction, as Laurent mentioned, the concept of, we want to have a lot of players, whether it's in orbit or at a lunar service, but then you run into a problem of overcrowding or, issues that come along with that. So sort of like baseball, where baseball would be great if it wasn't for the fans. I mean, you kind of need to have both present. And so personally, I'm looking to see how we can frame the topics that go into the collaborative sessions that way. But today I'm here to talk about expanding and evolving the space economy. This is a major topic, one of the 6 major topics of Ascend that's common across the technical paper sessions and the collaborative sessions. And we're going to talk about what the content of this major theme is. And I can read them here to you, but let me just try to put together a narrative story, based on the bullet points. Obviously we want to talk about topics that have commercial application, that are either demonstrated in the past or are emerging and are potential markets in the future. For example, like on-orbit servicing. There's a lot of ways to analyze markets, both the business plans as well as the operating plans. And so those are types of topics, and the kind of paradoxes those provide, those would be great topics that you could submit to. I mentioned the business plans and opportunities, again, associated with the operating plans, two different things. And so you could talk about those. Getting into the business plan, you could talk about what the major cost drivers are, and also strategies and success stories would be great. As you could tell, it's easy to see how topics that were listed in the Laurent section, on the exploration section, could be discussed as well in the commercial section. So this is where there's the interdisciplinary cross talk going on. And we want to encourage that. And sort of along to the question that was mentioned in terms of how do I know where to put it? It's, it might be that there's multiple perspectives being presented in the discussion and the topic, but whatever the one might be the predominant perspective, that might help provide guidance as to where it should go, whether it should go, for example, into exploration or into commercial. Let's go to the next slide, which shows the breakdown of subtopics within the space economy theme. And you can see a lot of items here that fit the categories that we just mentioned on the previous slide. But basically, we're going to be interested in any type of topic that focuses on either what I would call the institutional arrangements around the commercial space, which involves ways to legitimize commercial space to the eyes of the common people who don't think about space as much as we do. We could be talking about the regulatory or the legal, the laws that have to be passed to make commercial space work. We could be talking about technical standards that would help facilitate the emergence of an industry. We could also talk about another major category of the resources that are required for a space economy. Not only the financial resources, and I think I saw there something about financial capabilities, or maybe it was on the previous slide, yeah, cost drivers and things, but also the scientific and the technological resources that are needed, typically provided by government research and put into a common pool, a public domain that folks can use. And then finally, of course, the workforce resource is super important. And so anything that's associated with that and how that it's affiliated with the space economy would be a great topic. And then the third major category is the market capabilities, whether it's specific technologies. Laurent mentioned talking about technology innovations. Well, multiple technologies need to go together to create product innovations. And so if you had a topic focused on product innovations, that would be absolutely interesting. And then, of course, multiple product innovations combine into a market innovation. And that would absolutely be an appropriate topic for what we're talking about here. We could talk about any of the upstream and downstream sort of capabilities that are required from raw materials, including data, all the way through like plumbing and structures, and then going into the space specialty and the guidance, navigation, control, propulsion and power sort of systems, and then leading into supporting capabilities and other supporting industries, sort of automotive, the way automotive fits into this, and the way maybe electronics fits into the space economy. And then you start moving downstream into what are the sort of the retail services that folks might be able to develop to help promote the space economy, whether it's customer service or hospitality or training. And then ultimately we talked about the demonstrated markets, what those might be, as well as potential markets, things that we still are dreaming about and are hoping to evolve. So I think that gives sort of a wide overview of the types of topics that we could include, but I don't want to forget the fourth of the four major categories, which is the societal type of aspects that are going to influence the space economy. Obviously, different cultural aspects, different cultural norms are going to play into things like ethics and the way that space commercial activities are accepted by a community. So we want to include those. I mean, the effect of science fiction on commercial space. You look at the way some technologies are developing basically based on what people saw in Star Trek in the 1960s. So it's all this sort of stuff is fair game for space economy topics. And as Laurent mentioned, if you have questions about the topics being presented or how they might fit together, if you have an idea how you want them to fit together, absolutely contact us, because this is especially for the collaborative sessions, this is a very collaborative effort. And so we want to work with you to make it the best possible program. So I think I'll back off here and see if there's any questions or let other people speak.
Great, thanks, Ken. Yeah, we do have a few questions that are coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one. How would you propose to handle papers on space interoperability, standardization, and cross-support?
Great question. God, I got to think about what it even means. I suppose, you know, to me, interoperability, those type of things, you know, again, this gets into the standards sort of kind of discussion. I mean, we can form a narrative around this. If from the collaborative standpoint, you know, I would want it phrased as a form of paradox. You could say, oh, you know, you've got interoperability requires standards, and we need this to be able to promote the space economy and to accelerate the development. But on the other hand, too much standards early on could potentially be perceived as stimulate or stifling innovation and not allowing the private sector to be as creative as it might be or could be. So this provides the thesis antithesis sort of setup for what I would consider to be a really interesting discussion.
Yeah, and if I can add to this, I think Peter's question is very much addresses so many things across the board. It enables infrastructure building, but it also clearly is to the interest of how different actors in space are going to be able to do things together. So I think in terms of technical papers, you may choose a certain emphasis for the paper, and that guides the reviewers to say, well, clearly this author is talking more about infrastructure building rather than a commercial product or so forth. But if both are represented, then we may reach out and discuss with you if you would want to have sessions in both topics, for example.
All right, thank you both. I've got another one. Are there limitations on a group or firm submitting more than one session? For example, if we submit 2 sessions under the same category, would only one be accepted because they're from the same firm?
I know what my answer would be, and I'm guessing I know what Laurent's answer would be, and the answer is no, there's no limitation. I mean, if you come together with 2 fantastic ideas, I bet you $1 to a donut that we'll be able to figure out a way to make them both work.
Yeah, no limitations.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. Do you have a recommendation on where the topics of ground support and launch infrastructure facilities would go?
I would say it depends on what the focus is. If it's focused on non-governmental or commercial use of launch infrastructure and ground support, then absolutely you could stick it in the space economy section. But, and I'll hand it over to Laurent.
Yeah, I mean that's clearly what we're looking for is what emphasis are you placing on your paper or in your session. And that's how we're going to look at it. So let us know what you really want to talk about.
Right.
Okay, next question. Ken, will papers that explore firm level capabilities leading to new innovation fit in any of the subtopics?
I would, number one, say hello to my good friend, Raja Roy. Dr. Roy, good to hear from you. And a lot of my friends I see in the participant list. Hello, and thanks for watching. And absolutely, Raja, I mean, obviously, if we're talking about product level innovations, if you've got something that is either a potential product or a product idea that fits into the space economy or the commercial space sort of market, then absolutely, I think it would fit. You'd have to figure out, depending on what the product, which subtopic it might fit in. And if you have any questions, just drop me a line and we'll spend some time figuring it out. Because again, my goal, and I think everybody in Ascend's goal, is to create a great program. And so we want to take all these good ideas and figure out how to put them together to tell a good story. And so absolutely, we're more than happy and anxious to work with you to get the best proposals possible.
Great. I've got another question. Are papers on open source software development techniques for space qualifiable safety and assurance desirable? We observe that open source software is required for a collaborative space future, but that little open source software is presently written to qualifiable space safety and assurance.
Yeah, I'll take this one first. I think this is one of those emerging topics that is rapidly presenting both challenges and opportunities, and this is very much in line with what we want to see discussed at Ascend. So both on the technical papers, if you're interested in presenting the topic technically, but also in the form of a general audience discussion where you would have experts invited to, say, a panel or a round table and exchanging point of views and proposing solutions. One thing you want to, in addition to what Ken was saying about the framing this as paradox, you want to bring up challenges, but then with the intent of guiding the forum to kind of discuss and propose solutions to the challenges that you bring.
And I would add that when especially in the panel format or a format where you want to have multiple speakers, you don't want to have a panel where it's 4 folks that are all on the same side of the paradox, echoing how great each other are, or how great their, government program is. You kind of want to have representatives from multiple industries, multiple perspectives that, can provide rational and, thoughtful sort of discussion of their perspectives. Because, in real life, there's no real black or white answer to the solution. So you want to have a thoughtful discussion. And some of the feedback we got, frankly, from last year was, it was too much, mutual admiration society discussion going on. And so we're trying to, we don't want people to have to come to fisticuffs on stage, but there are legitimate positions to be taken on multiple sides of any topic, and so we want to be able to present that in a respectful way. I was going to mention something I just totally forgot, but I was going to mention in terms of the open source question, there's obviously a commercial part of that, and I was thinking about the paradox of this. Government regulations and requirements don't necessarily allow open source type of development of software. However, like you said, it would be super useful for development and diffusion and adoption of the technologies and advancement of the product. And so there's a paradox right there. What government concessions would need to be made to allow for open source, and then what would open source need to be able to do to be able to meet the requirements of a government program. So I think there's absolutely a interesting discussion to be had in that subject.
Yeah, and cross-talking with the space security topic, for example. Yep. So, yep.
Oh, come on, I saw Scott Maddry. You've got a question out there, or HR Zuckerman. You've got a question out there. You're gonna be sorry I knew your name. Yeah. While we're waiting for another question, I would just mention that again, we realize that, especially this idea of having multiple sides to a topic and bringing folks in, we realize this is different, but we want to create a program that's got a little bit of head scratching going on, making people sort of see things that they don't, or hear things they don't normally hear, and try to look at topics from multiple perspectives. So this is a little bit of a challenge, and I know I'm gonna have to work with folks to help craft a great idea into a sort of a duality, let's say, of positions that could be looked at from multiple perspectives. So we're absolutely willing to work with everybody on that, and we're looking forward to see what type of ideas we get.
Yeah, and I'll take the opportunity to add that so the use of the AIAA technical committees is particularly relevant there to produce interesting outcomes for these sessions. If you propose something like a roundtable or a workshop or even a panel, you could team up with a technical committee that is very interested in that topic. And you can find the list of chairs of those technical committees at AIAA and say, hey, an outcome could be that a summary of the findings of your session be something that the technical committee produces as a document product that can be referenced later on and could be useful to you as well.
Great. It looks like we have one final question. Let's see. Do you have speakers covering how the tech and developments of space exploration are now advancing the fight against climate change and more efficient use of resources on our planet?
I would say that we have a theme that's focused on, and I'm trying to think of specifically what the theme is called, but I know that one of the other 6 themes deals with
space and sustainability.
Yeah, that's right. So again, there's all this crosstalk between the different themes, but that is absolutely an important theme, and Ascend recognizes it by having it as one of the 6 major themes.
Yeah, I encourage you to look at that subtopic, and maybe we'll have possibly a webinar about it too.
Angie's the boss. Yeah, Angie's the boss. Tell us what to do next, Angie.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm reading this one final comment that came in from Mitch Ingham. It's basically just reach out to the technical program team on the website if you're curious about where your paper might fit. The technical program committee is your resource for how things are going to shake out. So if you're looking and your paper might fall under several different topics, just reach out there. All of their contact information is on the website, and they'll be happy to talk that through with you and figure out the appropriate place to submit your paper. So again, here are our final dates. Our call for content is closing on 15 March. We'll get our author notices out by June 2nd. 18 September is your manuscript deadline, and then we'll be in Las Vegas 23rd through 25 October. The website is ascend.events, and then that's the direct link into the call for content. The video for this presentation will be posted on our website, emailed out to everyone on the reg list for today. So you'll get a copy of this, and then we'll be reaching out. If you happen to be on a technical committee or an IOC, we'll be sending this to you as well, so you can share it with your communities. Let's see if there are no further questions. Laurent and Ken. Oh, is there?
There's one more, Angie, and maybe that one you could take it. That's from Ph.D. Says any outcome or results since the first Ascend conference.
I would have to pass that over to Craig for answer.
Yes, thanks, Angie. We are collecting all the outcomes from Ascend 2022 and getting those up on the website as quickly as we can. So keep an eye on the website as we develop those and get them posted. But we are trying to capture all the outcomes.
Great, thank you, Craig. Yeah, so thank you again, Laurent and Ken, for being here and for your time today. And thank you everyone who could join us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we very much look forward to receiving your papers and your session proposals. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
It's